There's a time I was going through some sort of a depression, and I was questioning the Lord about so many things, so many painful things that have happened upon my life. And instead of finding healing, I was being judgmental and beating about everything, hating, holding grudges, and I was aware that anxiety was now being part of what I was suffering from in general. So somebody once said to me, instead of hiding my scars, I need to embrace them, polish them, and let them shine. Because everything that happens in your life, it happens to you for a reason. There are some things that wouldn't have happened except you experienced that pain that you experienced in your life. And this scar, I could have went ahead and just throw it out and say, "Ah, now it's wounded. It's no longer useful to me." But instead, I took it, I molded it, and I embraced this scar. Now, when you look at it, it's something like a deco on it, but the reality is that it has been wounded. Here is my point. Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's a lady here, Debra Service. We're back again with another good video. So on today's video, we're gonna be journeying into the Word, see what God has for us today. So if you're new to this place, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button, help a sister grow here. But if you're the returning subscriber, welcome and thank you for staying. And without wasting any more time, let's journey into what God has for us this day. In life, things happen, good things, painful things, hurtful things. We lose things, we lose people, and we lose jobs. So in the process of everything that is turning upside down, in and out, you find that sometimes we end up getting hurt in the process. So the Lord has a word for us today. He says, child, you need to handle your pain. You need to work on it. It's high time you stop harboring what you're going through. Take it at first place, deal with it, and be done with it. So on today's video, we're going to be looking at the process of healing. How do we handle this pain that we go through? Either it be mental pain, either it be physical pain, emotional pain or emotional traumas, or anything that is causing us a discomfort in our life. You know, sometimes the pain that you have can be external. Some people are pains. If you have somebody who is the pain of your life, everything happens for a reason, and there's a season for everything to take place. So at this point in time, we are in the process whereby God is trying to mold you into that final picture He had in mind when He was creating you. So in the process of Him molding you, there are some pains that comes with it. There are some experiences that you come across in life that are causing that much pain, and you end up asking God, Father, why am I going through this much pain? Why am I losing people that I think that are so much important to my life? Why am I experiencing this heartbreak? Why are people treating me the way they are treating me? Everything around me is so painful. I try to look at my life. I try to look at my future. All I see is pain. Why is all this happening? Stay with me until the end as we are journeying through what the Lord is saying in this point in time in your life based on what you're experiencing. You know, in life, everything, it happens for a reason. That breaking, those shortcomings, those experiences that you think are breaking your heart, they happen in season and for a reason. So, from the scripture of John chapter 15, verse 2, we hear the Lord saying, I am the vine and you are the branches. And if you don't bear fruits, I'm going to cut you off. But if you bear fruits, I'm going to purge you so that you produce more fruit. And the process of purging is a very painful process because you're going to be pruned, you're going to be cut to a point. And in the process of you being cut and experience those hurtful moments, the Lord is saying, I'm letting you pass through this process because I want you to bear much fruit. You may not understand the Lord's doing. You may not understand what He's actually trying to do upon your life. And what you have to do is to let Him do it, trust Him in the process, and allow everything to be processed without you standing in the way. In Jeremiah chapter 18, he says, I have something to say. Go to the potter's house, watch what is happening, and I will speak to you while you're there. And when Jeremiah gets there, he finds a potter with a clay in his hands, and this clay was breaking in his hands, and he was molding it again into another vessel. The wheel was turning, and when the wheel was turning, the potter was fixing his pot into another beautiful vessel. And now the Lord spoke to him at that moment and said to him, aren't you people like that? Aren't you in my own hands? And am I not capable of fixing you while you're in my own hands? And while He's busy fixing you, molding you into another vessel, that process is so painful. Whatever thing, whatever experience you went through, whatever thing you're going through that you feel is causing you much pain, is actually molding you into something. There's a saying that says, the pain I went through has made me a better person. Actually, the pain has no ability of making you a better person, but it makes you aware of the better person that you already are. Sometimes we take ourselves for granted, we overlook the qualities that we have, but after we've been shaken up by some things and situations that makes a wake-up call in our lives, it's by then that we tend to realize the potential that was hidden in us. It's the same thing as of that process of extracting wine out of the grapes. The grapes can look at themselves and see themselves as something that can just get rotten and get thrown away. But if they come in the hands of somebody who knows how to handle them well, he can put them through a process of crushing and making them produce that juice that is going to be so precious, so expensive, and so lucrative. At the end of the day, they're going to be sold at a very high price because they went through a process of preparation. What the Lord is doing upon your life when He let things happen to you, He's just preparing you for the better use of the Master. He knows what He has in plan for your life. And for Him to get you ready to be used or do that which He has set apart to be executed upon your life, He needs to prepare you through the process that is going to mold you into the person that is going to outlive that which the Lord has in plan for your life. So many a times when you come across people and you are in a state where the Lord is preparing you, molding you, they tend to look at you and see a useless thing. They look at you and they think of throwing you away. Oh my God, okay. I don't know if you can see this pot right here. It has fallen. several times. It has broken several times. So instead of me looking at it and find it useless, I went ahead, looked at it, molded it, and instead of trying to hide the scars, it has scars on it. It has scars. I don't know if you can see. I went ahead and did not hide the scars. Instead, I enhanced them. It has gone through a lot. It fell and broke. So if I was another person, I would just throw it out and label it useless. But I knew a secret of scars. When there's a scar in your life, you need not to hide it. You've got to embrace it. You've got to enjoy the full benefit of it. When you look at this pot right now and you look at this scar, what I've done to it will make you think it's a designed thing that was designed to be on this pot to make it look beautiful. So the same thing applies in our day-to-day life. When we go through things, when we go through that breaking, we need to patch ourselves back together. We need to bring ourselves into that nice and good image. We need to embrace our scars. We need not to shelve them and hide them. They happened to us for a reason, and they are there to take us to a place we need to be. Whatever experience you had in life was there to equip you, to beautify you, to strengthen you, so that at the end of the day, you be that thing that the Lord had in mind when He created you. Your pain is not your enemy. Your healing process have to be embraced. You need not to run away from healing. You need to cry to mold yourself up. You need to prepare for the process of healing, the pain that you have in your life. He says the clay was breaking in the potter's hands. If you're in the hands of God, things do happen. They do happen. The presence of adversity or difficulties does not mean that God is absent. He is present in everything taking place. So what you have to do is to trust Him through the process. You need not to throw in the towel and say, God has forsaken me, I'm alone in this. No, He is there, paging you, preparing you, molding you, and letting everything be in line with your purpose and your destiny. Sometimes in life, you find that you go through suffering so that you be able to stand in a gap and extend a hand for those who are suffering. When we look at our Master Jesus, we know that He went through the suffering. He suffered until death because He wanted to redeem us. And that suffering is what has brought the glory that He now has. So what you're going through works as the fire that burns away everything that is not needed in your life. So if you look at it in a perspective of in a perspective of a period of preparation, you're going to journey into your destiny. You're going to be able to handle it at ease, knowing that the end product is going to be so glorious. When we look at gold, it goes through fire to be that beautiful, to be that good. So I encourage you today that whatever situation, whatever circumstances you're facing in life at this point in time, do not lose heart. Instead, look for the lesson that the Lord is trying to convey to you in whatever process you are going through. Because if you fail to pick the lesson and learn from what you are going through, that thing is going to repeat itself time and again until you grasp what the Lord wants you to learn out of whatever experience you're going through. So somebody once said to me while I was still growing, I used to cry a lot. And he said, every time a hurtful thing happens to you, try not to cry at that time, because while you keep crying, your tears are going to blind you to see what lies ahead of what you're experiencing. Because your experience, it comes to transport you to a next level of your life. So if you allow your tears to block your vision, if you allow your tears to block your vision, you're going to miss the opportunity that came with that difficulty. The Bible says every challenge that comes, it comes with a way out of that challenge, of that situation. So if you pay attention and focus on everything that is taking place around you, that is causing you pain, that is discouraging you, you're going to miss the glory that comes with it. So my advice to you is to embrace everything as it comes and look for the good out of the bad that is taking place around you. There are some things you need to be careful of as you're processing your pain, handling it, and dealing with it effectively. You need to be aware of the roots of your pain, and you tackle it from the roots, not just from a surface or from whatever thing it produces. If you are suffering from the loss of somebody, you need to seek adequate help so that at the end of the day, you handle things properly. There are some procedures and processes that you need to take, that you can take to help yourself deal with the pain that you go through in life. The first one could be you need to reconnect with God and let Him show you the way out of the trauma that you're in. Outpour yourself to Him and let everything come out. Because if you're bottling it in, doing nothing about it, it's going to cause you more harm inside than you could have done with letting it out. So you go to God in a secret place, you pray about it. If you're not the person who is so much into this prayer thing, you can take a paper, write it down. Just make sure that you take it out, or close yourself in a closet, talk it out. Talk it out, let it out. Again, you can find a community of social workers or people around you, family, friends, people you can just be able to open up to and let this thing out. Sometimes, yes, you really do need people in your life. You need somebody you can confide in, you need somebody you can open up to and just let everything be. somebody once said I don't have a problem confiding in people, letting things out, but my problem is what they might do with the information that I let out on them. And my response was, if you let it out, you did your part on healing yourself. So if they feel like they need to take it out themselves elsewhere, that's up to them. It's now their issue, it's no longer yours. But for privacy's sake and safety's sake, you can do that one of letting it out on the paper where you know it's safe, nobody will be running around with you. One other thing that you can do is to find people who went through what you are going through, trying to share with them, ask for help, ask for advice, let them tell you how they overcame it while they were going through the same process. Because if they came through and they didn't die in the process and they let you know how they walked it through, it gives you some hope and encouragement that at the end of the day, you too can still survive this. So instead of closing yourself in and wanting to do things all by yourself, you need to go out there, ask for help, go to the Word, ask God, talk to God, see what God says about your situation and everything. And the last point before I close, I just want to let you know that God is not against you, nobody is against you. And even those people who are causing you pain in your life, they are not against you. Just know this: everything that happens to you is there to test you, to mold you, to equip you. So if this person tries to lash out their emotions on you, trying to make you feel bad about yourself, you need to look at your life, and again, you need to look at their lives. Many times we tend to come across people who go through pain, and all they can release is pain. Maybe that was a sign or a cry for help. They were not trying to hurt you, but they were just trying to express what they were going through. When people go through hurt, anger, suffering, what they portray or gush out to people is the same experience they are going through. So instead of you taking it personal on yourself and think that they are treating you like that because they hate you, you need to look at them with a positive eye. This was their cry for help. What can you do to help them? Maybe just being there listening to them beating about the bush and saying all the rubbish they said was a therapy to them. They can't come back and say thank you, but you giving them an ear was you healing them in some way. So instead of looking at the situation in a way that hurts you in the process, stand out of the situation and try to analyze things from a different perspective. Because now, when we look at the word, we see God saying, I'm the vine, you're the branches, and for you to produce, I purge you, I cut you. They can be there and cut you so deep with their words. And God is expecting you to be productive out of that situation. He's expecting you to be of good, not of bad. He's not expecting you to repay evil by evil, but to get the good out of you. So sometimes when you go through such things, what you have to pray to God is, Father, let the good come out of the situation. Maybe you let it happen to me because you wanted to reap the fruits out of you. It's painful, yes, but trust God in the process. You need to be ready and willing to glorify God even in the muddy situation you find yourself in. You went through the suffering for this long and you wonder, God, why did you let it happen? Why didn't you take me out of it? Why didn't you rescue me out of the situation? And on the other hand, God is saying, I'm purging you, I'm equipping you, I'm cleaning you, I'm cutting all these other things out of you so that you be this perfect vessel that I have in mind when I created you. So many times in life, we've got to have a perspective or try to see things in the way that the Lord would look at things. What we can see as a disadvantage, God can see it as an advantage. That pain that you're going through that you think is going to kill you is the pain that is pushing you into your future. Only if you know how to channel your energies. You know, when something that is perceived to be bad happens in your life, you need to look at it in a way that is going to benefit you. Because if it's negative and it's happening to you and you look at it with a negative perspective, it's not going to produce good out of you, but to harm you and destroy you. There's a time I was going through some sort of a depression, and I was questioning the Lord about so many things. so many painful things that have happened upon my life. And instead of finding healing, I was being judgmental and beating about everything, hating, holding grudges, and I was aware that anxiety was now being part of what I was suffering from in general. So instead of closing myself in and not handling things the way I'm supposed to, I went ahead, sought for help, and when I was there, they told me that, these things that happen, they're just there for a season. When they pass, if you continue handling things this way, they're gonna leave you wounded. They're gonna leave you sick. The situation would have ceased totally, but because you mishandled it, you're still going to suffer the consequences afterwards. So they advised me to look at life in a different perspective, to put the finished picture ahead of me and not focus on what is happening in the present. Because our present is there to mold the future. But if we get lost in the process, we miss the mark and we fail to attain what was assigned for us in the future. We need to be forever productive, irrespective of what comes to our lives. We need to be producing good fruits, irrespective of the situation we encounter in life. I just remember this. There was a time that Jesus was going with his disciples. He was hungry. It wasn't a season for fig trees to be producing figs. But because he was hungry and the tree didn't have figs, he cursed that tree because he expects it to be productive in and out of season. So even if you feel like you're out of your season, you need to be producing fruit. You need to be journeying towards your goals. You need to stop nursing your wounds and giving out excuses for things that you can't change. When the Lord expects to reap something out of your life, you need not to be giving excuses and be saying, now I don't have this, I don't have that, I've been going through this, I've been going through that, so I can't do this. You need to be productive even in the season that you're in. There's so many discouraging things that could be happening, but they do not have a right to rob you of your joy and of your destiny. You need to be pursuing that goal irrespective of what people are saying, what you're experiencing, or how you're feeling. And you're only going to be able to attain this if you're able to go through the process of healing. Yes, healing is painful, but it needs to happen in your life. Sometimes, for you to fully heal from something, you need to go through that pain afresh. You can be trying to heal from something and find yourself in a state whereby you feel like you are. What is this? Find yourself in a state whereby you feel like you are chipping the wound afresh. The pain is so much to the point where you feel like the wound is fresh, is fresh. So instead of being passive, pretending that you've dealt with it, you're now good, you need to work on your pain, you need to heal so that you can go on. You can't reach where you're supposed to reach in this state. You need to go there healthy, strengthened, well, and healed. So stop avoiding the process of healing, go through it, deal with it in the correct way, and the Lord will be with you in the process as you're trying to heal from your pains, your losses, and your traumas, so that you be able to pursue your goals well. Remember, this month the Lord has promised us so much. So for us to attain all those things, He reminded me to come and remind you that you need to heal, you need to forgive, you need to get away with those crushes that you've been holding. They've been so heavy inside you. They've been prohibiting you to move at the pace that you're capable of. So you need to sit down. Look at those people who have hurt you or caused you pain in life and make a decision to forgive them. By so doing, you'll be freeing your soul, you'll be freeing your mind, freeing your conscience, so that you'll be able to journey in life without carrying a burden. So after you have forgiven them, now you'll be able to tackle whatever thing you want to tackle that have been a hindrance in your life. You know, when you hold a grudge against somebody, that grudge serves as a stumbling block against your own destiny. They might not even know that you're holding grudges against them, but you be the one suffering. Somebody said it's like drinking poison expecting it to hurt somebody else. That's what hatred, unforgiveness, and holding grudges does to us. So instead of saying, let whatever happen, I'm not gonna forgive, my advice to you is that go ahead, release them, and let everything work for your good. Even the pain they caused you, it worked for your good because it taught you a lesson. It made you a better person. Now you can see things with a better perspective. So thank them for the pain. Be grateful for your scars, embrace them, and let life be. Allow me to pray for you as we close out today's video, because I believe that God has a purpose for this. He's in this journey with you and He wants to see you somewhere someday. So, wherever you are, that thing that you've been asking God to do, after you've made up your mind to go through the process of healing, you're going to start to see results. Heal, be free, and walk with the Lord. Father, I thank you for this soul. I thank you for everything that you're doing in their lives. As I'm blessing them today, as you be forgiving them, let everything that you've aligned for their life come into place and come into manifestation. In the mighty name of Jesus, stay blessed, stay protected, and keep shining. See you in my next videos. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Until we meet next time, bye for now.